Now let's talk about arc length. Arc length is the product of the ratio of the measures of the arc and 360 degrees and the circumference of the circle, which of course is 2 times pi times the radius. Now notice the measure of arc AB divided by 360 degrees. This is the portion of the circle. So this is how much of the circle you have times the circumference. Now that we know about arc measure and arc length, we can talk about congruent arcs. Congruent arcs are arcs with the same measure and in the same circle or in congruent circles. The part about being in the same circle or congruent circles means that the circumference of the circles are the same, therefore the lengths of the arcs will be the same as well. So you'll notice that arc AC has a measure of 102 degrees and arc PJ also has a measure of 102 degrees. Because they are both in circle O, arc AC is congruent to arc PJ. And that's pretty much everything we need to know in order to start doing problems dealing with arc lengths. So let's find the length of each arc in circle O. Notice that it doesn't ask us to round, so we will leave all of our answers in terms of pi. The length of arc SC is the measure of arc SC, which is 72 degrees, divided by 360, times the circumference of the circle, which is 2 times pi, times the radius, which is half of 22. Therefore, let's see, 72 divided by 360 is 2/10, and of course 2/10 times the 22 is 4 4/10, so we end up with 4 4/10 pi meters for the length of arc SC. Now for the length of arc SRC, we'll need to know the measure of that major arc. That's 360 minus 72 is 288 degrees. And 288 divided by 360 is 8/10. And of course 8/10 times 22 is 17 6/10. So the length of arc SRC is 17 6/10 pi meters. Now remember that the size of a circle does not affect the measure of the arcs. However, the size of the circle does affect the length of arcs. For example, arc LT has exactly the same measure as arc SC, 72 degrees. Because the central angle has a measure of 72 degrees, the arcs have the same measure. However, notice that the radius of circle O with radius OT is different. It's only 9 meters. So therefore, the length of arc LT is going to be 72 divided by 360 times the circumference of circle O with radius 9, which is 18 pi. And 18 times 2/10 is 3 6/10. So the length of arc LT is 3 6/10 pi meters. Likewise, arc LYT has a different length than arc SRC. We'll take the same arc measure, which is 288 degrees. We'll divide that by 360, but now the circumference of circle O with radius 9 is only, again, 18 pi meters. So now we take 8/10 and times that by 18, and we get 14 4/10 pi meters for the length of arc LYT. So it's very important to know that the size of a circle does not affect the measures of the arcs, but it does affect the lengths of the arcs. Hence, congruent arcs must have the same measure and the same length.